Good Baltimore morning, everyone. My name is Kira Wisniewski. I have the distinct honor to be your host and co-organizer of Creative Mornings Baltimore. I am so excited to welcome you back to 2022, and we are excited to be here at the Enoch Pratt Free Library. New year, new location. Hey. The Enoch Pratt Free Library is located in beautiful downtown Baltimore on ancestral Piscataway land, and we are so excited for you to be here. Thank you so much. Before we really get started, though, I just want to start off by saying Black lives continue to matter. Creative Mornings Baltimore is one of over 200 chapters that gather around the world, and we are all here that we believe on the main mantra that everyone is invited and everyone is creative. So that includes you right there at home joining us right now. So thank you so much. I want to give a special shout out to our friends at HASA. Today we have Lauren and Sherry that are providing sign language interpretation. Really, truly, if we're going to live up to this mantra of everyone is invited and everyone is creative, we need to do the best we can to make our programming as accessible as possible. So thank you to HASA. And our sign language interpretation is underwritten by Eddie's of Roland Park. Eddie's of Roland Park is reminding viewers that love will set you free. Oh, this month's theme. In that spirit, Eddie's is offering a 4-course, chef-prepared dinner for two for Valentine's Day weekend, pickup or delivery. Scan the QR code to see the menu or visit eddiesofrolandpark.com/Valentine to learn more. So shout out to Eddie's. All right, so I know David, the speaker, and I were actually talking about this yesterday. We're over the pandemic. We're over virtual programming, and yet here you are. So we know that the idea of attending another virtual event right now can be a lot, and so we have so much gratitude for you joining us here today. We also know that it can be really tempting to try to multitask right now, like get out that other email or, do this, that, or the other thing. But I want you to really try to give yourself permission to just be here right now with us. We're only going to be here for like 45 minutes, and you deserve this. You deserve to just turn off those notifications and just be here in community. We know that this cannot replace the IRL experience. We hope that we can do that again this year, but for now, just be here. Give yourself permission. You deserve that. And go ahead and tag us. We want to see what it looks like on your side. So you can tag us on all of the socials at Baltimore_CM. Also, slide into those DMs. We'd love to hear from you. We miss you. And now I would like to say, oh, yes, Arlene is here. So engage with us in the chat. Arlene is joining our viewers over on Facebook. So, hey, girl. She is ready to talk to you, so engage with her, please. And then our Charlotte chapter chose this month's exploration of the theme free. It was illustrated by Lavana Parks. So shout out to Lavana and Charlotte. All right. So each month, we like to invite someone special to read our Creative Mornings Manifesto. And this month, we are going to welcome John Cardellini to read the manifesto from the Pratt. And he's also going to tell us some really great things that are going on here at the Pratt. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Kira. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome from the central location here at the Enoch Pratt Free Library in downtown Baltimore. I'm John Cardellino, the Best and Next manager here at the library. And on behalf of Best and Next and the Enoch Pratt Free Library, we are thrilled to be welcoming the Creative Morning team and this morning's esteemed guest, Dr. David Fakunle. We are coming to you live from the Best and Next mezzanine here overlooking beautiful Central Hall. The Pratt Library is thrilled to be back open for public service, and we hope you'll come visit us here at Central or at a library branch near you. You can find out more information about our hours of operation, our upcoming events, and the many essential services that we provide to the Baltimore community at our website, prattlibrary.org. And now for this morning's manifesto. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in virtual hugs, and digital high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Creative Mornings team. So excited about this conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, John. Thank you to the Pratt. And I also think it's really fitting that we're here for this month's exploration of the theme free, because that's what the Pratt does, is offer amazing free services to our community. There's so many things that is free, that's here, that's great. You should definitely check it out. We're in, as John mentioned, we're in the Best and Next department, which is kind of like where all the media is, and they have a whole vinyl collection here. Do y'all know that? You can come here and check out vinyl. So lots of cool stuff here available for free at the Pratt. So we also, of course, want to thank all of our volunteers. We run on an engine of generosity, and we could not do this without our all-star team of Mario, Henley, Sabina. We also have got Sean, and we have Winston and April helping us out every month. So thank you so much to our volunteers. And then we also want to shout out our sustaining partners. And one of our sustaining partners, Alpha Graphics, has made us these analog signs. Sabina, we've got Eddie's of Roland Park. White Tea Company. Our fiscal sponsor, Maryland Art Place. We also have HASA providing sign language interpretation. Alpha Graphics made these signs. Adorn Vintage Furniture, our home last year. The Impact Hub of Baltimore. As well as Local Color Flowers. Look at these beautiful flowers. And Pixelated Photo Booth. So thank you so much to our sustaining partners. And really, if you can, support local businesses more than ever. It's so, so important. If you can't monetarily invest in them right now, I get it. The pandemic's a lot. Go ahead and leave them a review or like them on Instagram. All of that stuff really matters to small businesses. So encourage you to do that. And we want to thank our global sponsor, MailChimp, who is actually supporting all of the chapters globally. So a shout out to MailChimp. We're going to drop in the chat. You can see on our website also all the wonderful folks who have been supporting Creative Mornings Baltimore since our reboot in 2019. All right, here we are, ready for the main event now. David Fakunle is a mercenary for change, employing any skill and occupying any space to help elevate everyone divested from their truest self, especially those who are of the Black, Indigenous, or people of color communities. David serves as an adjunct assistant professor at the University of Florida and associate faculty at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. David's interests include stressors within the built environment, societal manifestations of racism, and the use of arts and culture to strengthen health, equity, and ultimately liberation. Creative Mornings Baltimore, please welcome David Fakunle to the Creative Mornings Virtually Hybrid stage.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is always an honor and a blessing to be known for any reason to be remembered. So the topic is free. And I just happened to wear this shirt like completely by coincidence. Didn't even think about the linkage.
We love it.
In the thing. I think of a story. I think of a farmer who was walking down the road back to his farm. And along the path, he saw a baby eagle. And next to the baby eagle were two larger eagles that weren't moving. So the farmer presumed they were no longer alive. The farmer knew he had to do something. Otherwise, that baby eagle would not survive long. So he picked it up and he took it back to the farm with him. There weren't any eagles on this farm, so he put the baby eagle with the only birds that he had, which were chickens. Fortunately, the chickens accepted the baby eagle and started to treat it as one of their own. And this eagle continued to grow up, looking more like an eagle, sounding more like an eagle, but it was acting like a chicken. And the story went out throughout the village about this eagle that was acting like a chicken. And people would come from near and far to see it for themselves. And sure enough, they would see this big eagle plucking around the ground, looking for grain, fluttering around, not flying, truly acting like a chicken. There was a naturalist that heard the same story, and he had to see it for himself. So he went to the farm, he met with the farmer, and the farmer directed him to the chicken coop. And sure enough, there was an eagle acting like a chicken. The naturalist took the eagle and put it into his arm. He looked at it. The eagle was looking right back at the naturalist. And the naturalist started talking to him. You are an eagle. You are not a chicken. Why are you here on the ground plucking for grain? I need you to be up in the sky flying. So spread your wings and fly. The eagle looked around. He saw his fellow chickens, and sure enough, hopped off the naturalist's arm and started plucking around the ground again. The farmer was watching this, and the farmer was getting a chuckle out of this. But the naturalist only said, let me come back tomorrow. Naturalist comes back the next day, goes right to the chicken coop, takes that eagle in his arms, and goes to the highest building on the property, the barn. Starts looking at the eagle again and starts talking to it again. You are an eagle. This is where you belong, not down there. So spread those wings and fly. The eagle's looking around again, looks at the ground, sees the chicken coop, and sure enough, hops off the naturalist's arm and goes back to acting like a chicken again. This time, the farmer was not as amused. The farmer saying, why does this matter so much to you? Why are you spending your time and your energy trying to make this eagle act like an eagle? It's not bothering anybody. It's not making any noise. It's not causing any harm. What's the big deal? The naturalist only responds, let me come back tomorrow. Give me one more day. The next day, the naturalist comes back, goes right to the chicken coop, gets the eagle, and this time takes it to the highest point in the village, tallest hill, far away from the farm. He has the eagle in his arm, looks it right in his eyes, and starts talking to it again. This is where you belong. This is where you're meant to be. So I need you to use those gifts that the Creator gave you and fly. This time the eagle looks around, it looks up, it looks down, it looks left, it looks right. It doesn't see the farm, doesn't see the chicken coop, doesn't see the chickens. As a matter of fact, when it looks up, it sees a bird that kind of looks like it, flying around majestically in the sky. This time, the eagle jumps off the naturalist's arm over the side of the hill. As it's starting to make its way closer to the earth, it flutters its wings, but after a while, it starts to fly more slowly, with more control, with more power. Takes a little loop, starts to go back up towards the sun. And with a loud screech, the first screech it ever delivered, that eagle flew away. There is something so powerful, so life-changing, when you realize who you truly are. I didn't know that that journey for me would start at 9 years old, but it did, completely by serendipity. I just happened to be envious enough of another kid to tell a story that I just happened to remember from a radio show that was led by a world-renowned black storyteller. And the moment that I have a chance to tell this story, that world-renowned black storyteller is in the audience. And that black storyteller, Mary Carter Smith, peace be upon her, the fact that I remember the story that she told, the yellow ribbon, check it out, and to invite me onto her show to read stories with her. and all the while impart her immense knowledge, wisdom, understanding, but most importantly, her love to me. Now, what does a 9-year-old know about freedom? Some do, some don't. I acknowledge my privilege as a kid. I grew up well. So for me, I guess freedom was the norm, but there was a different level that I was missing. And in that moment, 1997, I'm aging myself now. A seed was planted. A seed that would continue to be cultivated and germinate, I hope I'm using a proper term there, over 2+ decades. And it wasn't until 2013 that it really started to kind of pop out of the soil for the first time. I didn't know that I could be my genuine self, bring the art and culture that I represent so proudly to the public health space. At Johns Hopkins, of all places, they got some stories. But there were people that were willing to cultivate me and cultivate the stories that I brought to Hopkins. I would have never imagined it, would have never believed it, but sure enough, I had the chance to use storytelling in the public health context for healing. It's crazy how the stories of your life kind of come together at a later point. Like you have all these different stories, these plot points, right? And then when you get into a certain part of the story, it all makes sense. That's what happened for me. I didn't know that this was my destiny, but now looking back, it all makes sense. I grew up in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I listened to the stories of women who were looking to heal from substance use disorder, from alcohol use disorder. My aunt, being one of the biggest storytellers in those rooms, having the whole audience in the palm of her hand, telling her story. No folktales, no myths, no traditions, her story. And that had the power to help others choose healing, choose recovery. I didn't know that as a child. I didn't know that those moments were the beginning of my liberation, but they were. And then you bring it forward as a researcher, as an educator, as an advocate, as an activist, as an artist, as a culture bearer. I get to use storytelling, this thing that has always popped up in my narrative my entire life, to help liberate others in public health of all places. In a moment where we are dealing with this pandemic, this is the reason that I'm looking at you through a camera and you're looking at me through your computer screen, where we've been separated in many ways, when we've had time to be with ourselves, to reflect. One thing that has really shined through, and I do say shine intentionally, has been the importance of being ourselves and sharing our truth. Like if you didn't know it, we all gonna have a story after this experience, right? We all gonna have a story. Right. And it's a story that's worthy of being told. And when we get to share our truth, when we get to express who we truly are, when we are the eagles that we know we are, and we get that empowerment to be the eagles that we know we are, knowing that there are so many people in this world that are told that they are anything, everything but who they are. The chance to tell your story, the chance to express your truth, that's freedom. And when we all do it, that's liberation.
David.
Kiera. You should have gave me 20 minutes. I was really about to get into it.
I mean, please, keep going.
Nah.
Nobody's stopping you. Oh my goodness. What a treat to have you here, and thank you so much.
Serendipity, right? Serendipity. We just happen to be in the same place at the same time, and a connection happens.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
So, yeah, a little background for you at home. I saw David speak at a Salzburg workshop, webinar, yep. Both.
It was part workshop, part series of conversations about where do we go from here, basically? What does the future look like for the environment? What's the future look like for race? What's the future look like for equity? Just all these major conversations that we're having right now, basically that conversation on a global scale.
Yeah.
And I just happened to show up.
Yeah, well, he didn't show up. He was one of the speakers. And so, but one of the things that really resonated with me when David spoke was talking about how really like storytelling sets you free. And it's just everything. I mean, I know you're wearing many hats in your life and you do a lot of really important work, but it's all so fascinating. And I think just really resonates with this month's theme. And so it was, just being in that place, seeing you speak, and here we are.
I appreciate it. Hey, I appreciate where life has been taking me.
Yeah, definitely. So we are now actually in the moment now, you at home, for Q&A. So we'd love for you to join this conversation with us. You can type your questions directly into the chat box on either Facebook or YouTube, and then I'll be able to see them here, and then we can get you part of this conversation. So please give us your questions. But
I like questions.
Yeah. Let's right. But so just, I love the story that you started with. And I love that you were sharing like how you at 9, that's when you kind of had your moment. But the story that you shared about the eagle, and there was the naturalist that was kind of like helping the eagle. Did you have like a naturalist in your
Throughout my entire life.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It was never a singular moment that created me. It was a cultivation of a bunch of naturalists. So I think about my aunt, who probably didn't even know just how much she cultivated in me, but she did. With the opportunity to know her story, the full truth of her story, her struggles as well as her triumphs, and to hear the other stories of people, of women, of men who were looking to be all that they were capable of being despite the challenges that they faced. That was a cultivation for me. Mary Carter Smith, she cultivated. The National Gray Blacks and Wax Museum, the Doctors Martin, they cultivated me. The Griot Circle of Maryland, they cultivated me. Friends School, all these different places had individuals who cultivated me. For what reason, I don't know. I always say that it's people see something in you that you don't see in yourself. That's what the naturalists did for the eagle. The eagle didn't know any better. It wasn't the eagle's fault. The farmer did the best that he could, and I want people to take that from the story as well. It may not have been all that the eagle was capable of being, but the farmer cared. That's a virtue, all
Definitely.
right? And we see that so much in our world. There are people that care. They may not have the capability or the understanding to do it the best way possible, but it doesn't mean we should minimize the fact that they give a damn. So for me, people gave a damn. And many of those people were equipped to give me the gifts that I needed and to cultivate the possibilities of what I was capable of being. And I am not here without them. I am the cultivation of so many people, and it would be an insult to them if I didn't use these talents and these gifts to do the same for others. And just quite simply, that makes me happy. Like, honestly, I could buy myself a bunch of stuff, but that doesn't make me happy. Making other people happy makes me happy. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is to tell them your story matters. Your narrative means something. You mean something. Black lives matter? Yeah, black stories matter. It has meaning. And it's not just applicable to the black experience, it's applicable to the human experience.
Definitely.
And that's what storytelling does ultimately. It reminds you of your own humanity. And we need that.
Definitely. And I mean, one of the things I find so fascinating about your work is particularly storytelling in public health, which, as you were saying, during this pandemic that we continue to find ourselves in.
Oh, it's still here, y'all.
Yeah. And just, I'd love to hear you speak a little bit more to that and like how you are working with people in public health with that aspect of angle of storytelling.
I am still trying to figure it out. So it started with storytelling is healing, working with people in recovery, but really people recovering from any manifestation of trauma. That was really the first in for me. Then I had an opportunity through my postdoc in Morgan State, shout out Go Bears, to use storytelling as research. And that was something I was always interested in, just simply the notion of how we get qualitative data. There's quantitative, the numbers, the statistics, but then there's qualitative data, which are fundamentally the stories. Now, the way that I came up as a researcher, we'll give you a questionnaire, we'll give you a survey, we'll send you a link, do Likert scale. If anybody knows Likert scale, 1 to 5, mostly agree or strongly disagree to strongly agree, that kind of stuff. Is that telling the full story? Nah, it's not. It's not. It's not giving the populations that we research, the populations that we serve, ultimately, as public health professionals, the chance to really share their full truth. Why don't we just let them tell their story? Very simple. We'll just say, tell your story. So much of the work that I do in public health is to show how simple storytelling is, yet how powerful and impactful it can be. So when we think about the pillars of this field, epidemiology, for example, statistics, certainly research, storytelling should be one of those pillars as well. If we don't share with the people the knowledge and wisdom that we are cultivating as public health professionals, what difference does it make? Mm-hmm. And this pandemic has really captured that more than anything I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm just going to assume everybody's life in here, all right? Definitely. There's never been anything like this in our lifetime. So it has caused a reevaluation, really kind of I'll say a come to Jesus moment for a lot of fields, especially public health, with how are we actually going to practice this in a way that is conducive to the total health and well-being of all people. That means the epistemology, our basis of knowledge, which we have to admit was created by wealthy white men, has to be scrapped. Mm-hmm. We have to incorporate Black knowledge and Black wisdom, indigenous knowledge and wisdom, Asian knowledge and wisdom, the knowledge and wisdom of every human being that lives on this planet, because every human being has a context that is applicable to health and well-being. We have to recognize that and utilize it to our collective benefit.
Definitely. Kelly is joining us from Facebook, and she asks, you move across so many registers and places, from NA circles to screens to state commissions. How do you prepare others to hear your message?
I remind them that they're human. So I never like to get too morbid, because that's a bummer. But I have to take a moment and remind us all that no matter what our title is, no matter what we're navigating in life, we got one shot at this thing called life. It's not something that we observe. It's something that we live. Even your most boring day is a story in your life. That's not coming back. So for us, and I mean us as human beings, what truly matters in this thing called life? I've been fortunate to narrow it down to 5 things, and I call them the existential determinants of health. When it comes down to it, this is what's most important. Acknowledgement, appreciation, respect, understanding, and love. If we get that in our lives, I think we've lived life to the fullest. So in any space that I occupy, I like to ground my audience with that fundamental understanding that no matter what we're doing, whether it's policy, whether it's practice, whether it's research, whether it's advocacy, whether it's activism, whether it's straight up art, whether it's straight up culture, the point of it is to make sure that to some extent in that moment, whether just immediate in that acute moment or long term, we feel acknowledged, we feel appreciated, we feel respected, we feel understood, and we feel loved. If we can all agree to that, then we can do all this other stuff. Yeah. So it makes it simple. Again, we gotta know why we're doing this. This is not just busy work. I know we can do a lot of busy work, but this is the life work, and ultimately how we contribute to society should benefit those existential determinants.
Definitely. And I think that it seems so simple, but yet, I feel in a capitalist society.
Oh, we make things very complicated. No, don't get me wrong. It's simple in principle. Mm-hmm. What makes it complicated is that we're human. Okay, that's the other part too. So I don't want to make it sound like, we can just flip a switch and fix all this. No. There's a lot of damage and a lot of impact that we have to account for. So accountability is also important when it comes to the reform and just the revolution that is necessary. But again, that becomes a little bit easier if we can all agree that we're doing this for those general purposes, that general reason, that general meaning, that people see us. So when we say, you feel me, that's not just a turn of phrase. It's like, do you acknowledge my existence? Do you acknowledge my humanity? So I want to make sure that everybody feels that way. And for me, because I'm only one person, storytelling is great. Storytelling is a great way to do it.
Yeah, definitely the way to humanize. We have another question coming from Facebook. As a public health professional, how do you tell your vicarious trauma stories with empathy without coming across as selfish or disrespectful of the communities you serve?
The best way I do it is to have the community tell their story. That's the ideal situation, and that's one of the things that I realized, particularly as I was coming up as a researcher. We'll have everybody under the sun tell the story of what's going on with a health outcome except the people who are dealing with the health outcome. Why is that? Well, the reason is because it's hard. It's hard, and I don't want to deny that. But it's a choice that you make to say, I'm going to give up my voice, my power, my platform, and let the people tell the story. But that's what I look to do is to provide that platform. And if I have to be the one to tell the story because of whatever the circumstances may be, I certainly am going to honor the humanity of the people that I represent. I will say that their virtues, the manifestations of their character still shine through, even in the face of the challenges that they experience, many of which are not in their control. And that's the other part too.
Right.
When we think about just our social ecosystem, we are navigating so many ecosystems at the same time, and so many of those ecosystems are not in our control. There's a serenity in that, knowing what you can change and what you can't change. And when we tell those stories, we need to look at it in that context. So context is key. We have to acknowledge the things that people are able to dictate for themselves and acknowledge the things that they aren't able to dictate for themselves and ask ourselves, well, why is that the case? And then the next step is, are we willing to do something about it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm loving these questions that are coming in. Brittany is saying, yes, ethical storytelling is so important. So please keep your questions coming. And then also for those in the room, we have a very small team in the room, with the pandemic, as we were saying.
Right.
But if you have a question in the room, I'd be happy to share the mic with you as well. So another question that I have for you is just, so outside of the storytelling, and just, we mentioned it a little bit in your bio and your intro, you're doing a lot out there. So can you talk a little bit more about some of your other practices?
Sure. So I do love to teach. So I teach at the University of Florida, go Gators. I shout out a lot of teams. So I teach the arts and public health graduate practicum there. And the Center for Arts and Medicine at the University of Florida is a world-renowned program when it comes to navigating and understanding the impact of arts and culture in health. This was something I didn't know officially existed as a field until like 3 years ago. Actually, around this time, 3 years ago, is when I got introduced to the research director, the now research director, and she brought me into this space with all these people who understood that, yes, storytelling, drumming, your singing, your theater, your literary arts, all this can affect your health and well-being, and we officially work in this space. We declare ourselves people who operate at the intersection of arts and health, and I'm like, hell yeah. This is my people. I found my family, I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one. So I was like, am I crazy? Like, this makes way too much sense. It's like, nah, you're not crazy. This makes way too much sense. Okay, work with us. So that really changed the game for me. And also at Hopkins, like I said, I've maintained a good relationship with Hopkins. I didn't anticipate that. I thought I was just going to get my PhD and go. But they cultivated me. They really did. And they believed in me. And they believed in what I could bring. So I teach a storytelling course. This will be the 5th year that I've taught a storytelling course in the summer. Storytelling at the intersection of public health, particularly around research dissemination. So how can we as health professionals, and not just researchers, it started out with just researchers and medical professionals, but there's really a lot of people that represent the tapestry of public health, which is awesome. So it's not just about research dissemination, but how do you disseminate your public health work? Whether it's practice, whether it's research, whether it's advocacy, how are you telling that story so that people ultimately support the work, support the research, support the policies to make health and well-being better? I'm also executive director of Woundwork Productions, a social change performing arts company. Shout out Woundwork. And we use primarily theater, but all forms of performing arts to uplift community, to uplift youth, to empower youth, to let them know, again, their story matters. the stories that we share through our theater are our stories. Much of our material comes from our lived experience and the lived experience of our family, our friends, our colleagues. And we do that in a respectful way. A lot of people say a very raw way. And that's really the legacy of Woundward. We told the truth. We told the history. We told the emotional impact. But we leave people empowered knowing that there's something they can do about it. So we definitely emphasize the best in humanity despite the challenges that society faces. What else do I do? Discover Me, Discover Me, Recover Me, which is my storytelling organization, me and my mom. Hi, mommy. Yes, I'm a mama's boy. I can't deny that. So we started that several years ago, and that's kind of our official platform to use storytelling as a healing practice, as well as workshops and just showing people how they can incorporate storytelling into their existing work. Again, it's not hard. It's just a choice that you have to make. And if you're intentional about it, it makes all the difference. And then lastly, I'll stop with this, the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which I'm honored to chair, really telling the story of that aspect of Maryland's history, one that is very much alive today in a different manifestation. But this notion of racial terrorism is a story that needs to be told because, again, it hasn't gone away. It's evolved. Definitely. And we are charged with doing the research, uncovering the history, confirming what happened, and really having these spaces, our hearing sessions, to ideally let the descendants of the victims tell their story and talk about the impact of having their family member taken away unnecessarily. And then for us as a commission to make the connection with what's going on today. And to really recommend to our leadership what they can do to bring truth, to bring justice, to bring healing. We call it the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, but I'm going to tell y'all now, there's nothing to reconcile. But we do want the truth. We do want healing for the families of the victims, but really for all of Maryland, because these systems of oppression affect all of us. Definitely. All right, we all deal with it in one way or another. So let's heal from that because healing is necessary, and let's push for the reform and the revolution that is necessary in order to make sure this stuff doesn't happen anymore.
Let's make it better.
Yeah. Why can't we all be happy? Why can't we be friends? I'm like, it's all out there, you know what I'm saying?
We have a question coming from YouTube. What are you currently reading, and what writers keep you motivated?
I gotta admit, I do a lot of reading for work. So the notion of reading for pleasure is not a foreign one, but it's something I have to get back to. So I will admit I do a lot of reading research papers, and I guess what will keep me motivated is that I'm seeing much more of the language that I speak in the research. So we're talking about some of the most sanitized places to write, unfortunately, that we see, and most people don't have access to research. I do, fortunately, through my positions, but a lot of people don't know what's going on in our fields because you literally can't get past the paywall.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I got to remind myself to, log in through my school email in order to get access. So for me, I think what keeps me motivated is knowing that there are people out there that get it. There are people out there who have the courage to say it the way it needs to be said, that aren't going to be bound by, again, the epistemology that's currently, I think, demonstrated so strongly in our field. And that's the work that I want to get out there in some form or fashion. But there are some books that are on my list. Like, I got a whole bunch of books that people have given me. I'm definitely want to read Ibram X. Kendi, How to Be Anti-Racist. Like, I feel like I am, but I want to see what he says. And a lot of D. Watkins. I read D. Watkins' book a while ago, and I know there's this new book because Woundward did a show on it. We Speak for Ourselves. And that's part of the point.
Yeah.
Is I try to be very mindful of acknowledging my privilege even as a black man. Yes, I am very educated. I have these opportunities to be in these spaces, but I do not speak for all the black people. I don't.
No?
I want to because I want to only because I know I have to use the opportunity that's given to me.
Sure.
But I don't want to fall into that trap. So it's
Definitely.
a balance for me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know next time a black guy with locks is going to be in this space, so let me take advantage. But again, black folks are not a monolith. Black people, you're not a monolith. People who aren't black people aren't a monolith. So just so y'all know. So I try to do my best to balance being as representative as I can, but knowing that I don't represent everybody. But knowing ultimately, let them speak for themselves, just like Dee said. let the folks speak for themselves, and whatever I can do to create a platform to let people speak for themselves, black, white, or indifferent, that's what I want to do, because every story deserves to be told by the storyteller. That's the other part too. I can tell a good story, trust me, but Kira, I couldn't tell your story perfectly. You can tell your story perfectly. Mario, you can tell your story perfectly. Everybody in this room, y'all can tell your story perfectly because it's your story. That's the point.
Definitely. And like I just, you're saying so many things I want to respond to. But one thing, I just like kind of a further plug of like where we are right now with paywalls, which is like such a barrier of information.
Paywalls suck.
But here at the Pratt, you actually can access a lot of information digitally by just coming here.
I gotta remind myself of that. I really, again, yes, these are the repositories of society, and we have our official libraries, we have our unofficial libraries, we have the places where you can go for knowledge and wisdom. And I would say a true librarian wants to give you all the knowledge that they can. So definitely support your library, support these repositories that are all around us. You ain't got to pay for it. If you know where to look.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we are just so honored that you were here today to join us to talk about this theme of free and just really tell us more of your story and the power of storytelling. Where can people find more? How can they engage with you?
Man.
What do you have coming up?
So you can certainly check out discoverme.recoverme.com. I do have socials, but am I the most social media savvy person? No. But you can find me at Discover Me, Recover Me on Instagram, Facebook as well for the old heads. Facebook.com/Discover Me, Recover Me. In terms of what's coming up, so it's always a potpourri. Woundwork Productions has a series of performances at city markets in February. So February 5th will be at Lexington Market. It'll be a combination of African drumming, African dancing, and spoken word. February the 12th will be at the Avenue Market on Pennsylvania Avenue. And on February 19th will be at Northeast Market. So certainly come on out. It's free. I think everything will be between 12 and 4 p.m. So definitely check us out there. Honestly, the best way to find out what I'm doing is just to hit me up. So definitely slide in my DMs. No one does that, but you're more than welcome to. I'll give you my phone number. You can just text me. You just ask me Dave, what you doing? Hey, what I'm doing. But no, that's always a question that I get is how do people find me? I'll show up. You'll see me. I'll be around. But I appreciate this opportunity. Like I said, just to be known, to be appreciated again. Is an existential determinant, and I've been appreciated today, so thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody, please give David your flowers, your appreciation.
I will take actual flowers.
Local color flowers.
I've been converted. I like flowers now. So.
We're going to do a quick, I don't think I told you about this, so surprise.
I like surprises.
We're going to do a quick selfie moment. So actually, we're going to invite everybody at home to, Henley, if you want to focus back on on David, we're asking you at home. Take your selfie with David right now. Share it on the internet.
Get my face. Let me get my face ready.
Yeah. Get ready.
Tell me when.
All right. Go. Hey!
Hold up.
Oh, get those angles.
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff.
Oh, I love it. Give face.
I get it from my mom. Definitely not my dad. But he's photogenic too.
Yeah.
You gotta get him in the right angle.
Yeah. Shout out to your parents. Shout out. Thank you again so much. We ask you at home to please save the date for next month. We will be welcoming Sebastian Mortorano to speak on the theme of monumental, and that will be on Friday, February 25th. So please join us then. And I want to close out today as we've been closing out the sessions for a while now. So we're just going to do 3 collective breaths together. So sit comfortably, stand comfortably, hands on your heart, hands on your thighs, wherever you want to be. And we'll just take some breaths. So in and out. Again, in and out. And last time, in and out. Thank you again for joining us. We hope that you feel connected to this community. I know it's hard digitally. Hopefully, we'll be able to meet again in 2022. We seriously miss you. Like David said, slide into those DMs. We'd love to hear from you. So have a great Friday, and we'll see you next month.
Bye, everybody.